It's time for the Jesse T Show. Yours truly, the Brown Beauty, is back on duty, rolling down the highway as we get to our next destination today. Man, it's a beautiful Southern California day as we move closer and closer to the weekend. It's unbelievable how Los Angeles and California just is brilliant and beautiful in terms of the weather. Got some clouds in the basin of Los Angeles where the downtown area is, but as you stretch out around the community, what you start finding out is it's clear skies and blue skies and clean air, but it's kind of patchy in some places. You know, that's why people come to California, really, Southern California especially, because it's the weather. It really is the weather. I mean, so many other parts of the country are so messed up weather-wise, but we here, our springtime in Southern California is so mild compared to anybody else, and our summers are so beautiful, and our winters usually aren't that bad either. It's just amazing how many people come here because of the weather, and they stay here, and I just wish they would all go back, because I was traveling down the freeway today, the 405, and I had to go 8 miles. 8 miles. Okay, now, for some of you who are other parts of the country listening to the Jesse T Show and watching me right now, 8 miles is, you know, just a rock throw. It's no big deal. In fact, most of the rest of the country looks at 8 miles when they say, well, how far are you away? Oh, only about 8 miles. Oh, it's just about 8 miles down the street or 8 miles down the road. And that's how they kind of, you know, talk to each other, measure time and distance. We here in Southern California don't measure that. And when people come here from other places in the country, they're still stuck into this time thing, you know, this miles thing. And they say, well, you know, they might be in Encino, right? And they have to go over to Hollywood. And they say, well, that's only about, maybe 10 miles on the GPS, on the Waze or the Google, right? But they don't realize that 10 miles can be 10,000 years. It just depends what nutcase is deciding to jump off a bridge and commit suicide, carjack somebody, get in a car chase that he's going to lose because the cops will eventually catch him, or run out in the middle of the freeway, drive the opposite direction, or get a flat tire, or stop in the middle of the freeway because the car stops working, or doesn't pull over all the way off the freeway, or is fighting with his wife, or fighting with her husband, or weaving and driving erratic, or something falls off their car, or they get in an accident and then it ends up being, you know, a 7-car accident, or the CHP are slowing people down because they're going too fast, or some awful thing happens every single day on one of these freeways in Southern California. And see, people from other parts of the country that visit here and come here and eventually live here, they don't get that. They're still dealing in miles. So I had to go 8 miles. So if you're watching and listening from another part of the country today, as I'm driving the Miles with the Smiles right now in the Gray Ghost, I had to go 8 miles down the 405 freeway. And I've had some really horrible driving experiences going down the 405 freeway in terms of how long it takes you to go anywhere. But today was the most god-awful time. 8 miles. Okay, I decided that I was going to stay on the freeway. Usually I jam off and do my side street action behind the alleys, behind gas stations, behind shopping centers. You know, I know all the shortcuts because, yeah, I'm the shortcut king. I'm the traffic jam and shortcut king. And, you know, I do a lot of this without Waze and without GPS because I just know so much in terms of my driving around all the streets and roads and everywhere. I'm just weird like that. I don't know. But anyhow, I decided this time that I'm just going to stay on the freeway and suffer. I'm gonna be like Jesus Christ, man. I'm going to be Jesus Christ on the freeway today. I'm going to suffer. And so that's what I did. I suffered 8 miles. Now, just guess how long it took me to go 8 miles. Just 8 miles. 8 miles down the 405 freeway on my way to LAX from the Sepulveda Pass or Westwood. 8 miles. 8 miles. What do you think it took, Dean, for me to go 8 miles in the most god-awful, worst traffic that I've ever been in on the 405 freeway in my driving days since I was 16 years old? Julio, what do you think? 8 miles, Susan. I had to go 8 miles down the freeway. Hey, thanks a lot, guys, for having us on the Jesse T Show. We're going to start getting back to it here. I took some time off. We've got lots of exciting things, changing networks and stuff, and building a studio and doing a lot of things here. So we're still doing the show, Dan the Man and I, of course, but it's going to be a little sporadic, and we're going to be changing the time of day. Instead of 5 o'clock, it's going to have a new time slot. So we'll be working on that. So just bear with us. But anyhow, 8 miles. Good to have you along at Facebook.com/Jesse Terrero, and on Twitter and LinkedIn. And the network's still a strong downline AM stations, and of course the Global Radio Network and KTNT Radio and TV Network, as well as Blogger and Tumblr and Diggy and Pinterest and so many other great social media TV websites that we're connected with the Jesse T Network here. So 8 miles. What do you think it took? 8 miles for me to go to 8 miles. No. It didn't take 10 minutes to go 8 miles. No, that was like 1969. No, it didn't take 7 hours to go 8 miles. So that's like when you're going up Fraser Park on the way to Bakersfield and you get stuck with some giant semi-truck blowing up and gas catching on fire and blowing up other trucks and cars, or you get snowed in and you can't go anywhere because there's no off-ramps. Even if you have a 4x4, you can't get off the freeway because there's nowhere to go. So you're stuck. You're just stuck. And boy, you hope you have enough gas, food and water, and survival gear. Otherwise, they may find you, slung over the backseat of your car in nothing but skull and bones. But no, it didn't take like 7 hours. 8 miles. Now, this 8 mile stretch that I'm talking about usually takes me about 25 to 30 minutes to go down. Sometimes when it's bad, 40, 45 minutes when it's really bad. Usually I pop off the freeway then. But this time I decided to stay on. So 8 miles, Deshaun. 8 miles down the 405 freeway between UCLA or Westwood and LAX. How long do you think it took me to go? 30 minutes? Not bad, Susan. Not bad, but no. Usually 30 minutes is about what it always takes. 30 to 45 minutes in your typical traffic day to go that 8 miles, that stretch through there. So, and if it takes 45 minutes, I'm off the freeway, doing my backstreet action stuff, my traffic jamming through Los Angeles. But no, 8 miles, okay? It didn't take 30 minutes. It didn't take 10 minutes. No, not 7 hours. No, it didn't take 7 hours, Dean. No. You know what it took me? Okay, I'm going to tell you. 8 miles. 8 miles, right? I stayed in the middle of the freeway like a normal person. I didn't do jockey changes on the left and right lane, back this way, back that way. I stayed in one lane, just like everybody else does, right? 8 miles. Ready? 3.5 hours. It took me 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours to go 8 miles. There were no accidents. There was nobody jumping off the bridge. There were no naked homeless people peeing and pooping on the side of the freeway. There weren't any CHP chases. There weren't any motorcycle racing. There wasn't any broken cars, tires, flat tires, overheating. There was nothing but cars upon cars, upon cars, upon cars and cars and more cars and cars. And wait a minute, didn't they just go through a widening of the Sepulveda freeway, the 405 freeway? Didn't they just make it wider, and it took them like 5 years to make it wider from Sepulveda to LAX? They made it like twice the size. Man, let me tell you guys, 3 hours? 3 hours. 3 hours. 3 hours. 8 miles. I almost pulled off the side of the freeway, went to one of those bridges, took the rope out of the back of my car, and jumped off it with around my neck. If there's anything that'll drive you to insane suicide, it's driving on the Los Angeles freeways. And they are going to get worse. They're going to get worse. They're going to get worse by far, exponentially. Well, figure it out. Here's why. People. And this is what I want to talk about. People. Right now, we have about 40 million people living in California. And about 3/4 of them live in Southern California, because it's where the jobs are. This is where everybody wants to be a recording rap star and a movie star. Oh, by the way, great time last night if you had a chance to see the show. Cat Baller's on, and also Donna Kovac. What a great time we had on top of the Mondrian Hotel at the Sky Bar. And, oh, man, got a chance to talk to Tony Tarantino, Quentin Tarantino's dad. Wow, man. He's doing a great movie. And it's unbelievable, man. It was just packed with everybody, a who's who of people. And I got as many as I could get in. Some really top stars there, producers, directors, financiers, and it's about a half a dozen A-lister stars. They didn't want to get on camera, but you know, I knew most of them. We were talking to them off camera and stuff. But man, it was packed. What a great time Dan the Man and I had out there. So look at this is what I wanted to talk to you about. 8 miles took me 3 hours today on the freeway, and it's going to get worse. It used to take me in 1976, when I was 16 years old, it would take me to go from Burbank, California to Zuma Beach. Now, we're not talking 8 miles. We're talking about 25 miles. It used to take me a half hour. 30 miles in a half hour. 60 miles an hour. A half hour. It took me 8 miles, almost 3 hours. 3 hours, a little over 3 hours today. Yeah, 8 miles. And there was no tragedies on the freeway. It's because there's too many people here. There's too many people in California. And there's too many people in Southern California. There's too many. And this state, our Governor Newsom, and all of the mayors of all the major cities in California, and the state assembly and the state senators, have made this state a sanctuary state, and sanctuary cities and sanctuary counties. And they've invited, for all the people in the